Hey y'all, my name is Christian. I'm a millennial, and this is the Millennial Mind. Millennials get a bad rap for being lazy, non productive members of society. They are also told that their opinions are warped and that they don't matter. This podcast is designed to express an opinion, but from a millennial's perspective. We will talk about everything from love and relationships to pop culture to pretty much everything that comes to mind. Come join me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your mind as well. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Goli gummies. Now, we all know that apple cider vinegar is the new health kick right now, okay? So you're supposed to take a shot or two in the morning. Some people take it 3 times a day, and you're supposed to get a lot of health benefits such as losing weight, appetite control, etc. If you guys have ever taken apple cider vinegar shots, it is a very strong taste, okay? It's a very strong taste. It burns your throat when it goes down, just a whole nine. I used to take apple cider vinegar shots as well, and I just got sick of the taste. So I tried to find an alternative to it where I wouldn't lose the benefits, but the taste would be a little bit better. That's when I found out about Goli gummies. Now, Goli gummies, they are little gummies that has apple cider vinegar in it, and you get all of the same benefits of an apple cider vinegar shot. So the appetite control, the weight loss, etc. It's really tasty, so you don't have that burning sensation that's going down your throat every time you consume it. It's amazing. It comes in nice little packaging. They also have, you can also get an individual bottle if you want to try it, or you could do the 1 month supply, 3 month supply, or even a 5 month supply of these gummies. I take them every day and I love them. I try not to eat them as candy because they're just that good. If you want to take advantage of these gummies, I do have a special promo code for my listeners. You can go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get an additional 5% off your purchase. And there is nothing wrong with additional savings. I will take whatever I can get. So if you want to take advantage of these gummies, go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get additional savings. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of The Millennial Mind. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your mind as well. As you guys know, this is Black History Month, which is very special to me and has a lot of sentimental value for me because this is my history. This is a part of my history and so many other Black people out there. So even though Black history is only during the month of February, Black history is still history. I don't like separating it, saying like, oh, Black history is separate from American history or European history or whatever. It is history, but it's just a month that we set aside in order to celebrate the accomplishments and the leeway that African American leaders have made in our society. Now, if you've listened to season 1, you know that I did a whole series on African American unsung heroes, and that's going to continue this season. But I just want to change it up a little bit and add some well-known African American heroes that we may know of, but maybe we don't know some facts about them. Maybe we don't know everything. And maybe there are people who are listening right now who don't know who these people all are at all. So I just want to highlight at least one well-known African American hero and then talk about some unsung heroes. So I'm going to start off with a well known African American hero. And this woman, she just passed away at the end of January. So I thought it would be befitting that she would be the first well known Black hero that I talk about today, and that is Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson, she just passed away at the end of January. She was 96 years old. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was a time where we were trying to figure out like how old she was because Cicely, she was still working. Okay. She was still working up until death. So we were trying to figure it out because you know the old saying is black don't crack. And that is true. Um and I think at some point, maybe in the past few years, it was kind of confirmed, or it was finally confirmed that she was in her 90s. So we was like, oh, she looks good. But does anyone remember that? Like we were trying to figure out like how old Cicely Tyson really was because we just didn't know. But now we know, and God bless her heart. She really made an impact on Black history. If you guys do not know, she is, or she was rather, an actress. I think she's been acting for like 70 plus years. I think that's I think that's the correct figure. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me, but she's been acting a long time. She's been in the business a long time. So I thought it would be befitting to talk about some interesting facts about her before we get into the unsung heroes. So here we go. So Cicely Tyson, she was born in New York. She attended New York University. She was on the Dance Theater of Harlem's National Advisory Board. See, I didn't even know she was a dancer. So there we go. She was on the advisory board for the Dance Theater of Harlem. She was nominated for 14 Emmy Awards and has won 3. She was nominated for 1 Academy Award and recipient of an honorary award, which is surprising because Cicely, she's been in a lot of movies. And if you've seen her, she is a darn good actress. So to know that she was only nominated for an Academy Award and didn't win one is kind of distressing for me, but I'm going to get over that. She was also nominated for 1 Tony Award and has won 1 Tony Award. Okay. Um, she was discovered by a fashion editor at Ebony magazine. She appeared on Vogue, on the cover of Vogue and Harper's Bazaar magazine. The Emmy that she won is for Actress of the Year. She was the best lead actress in the drama for the film The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. She was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. She had a school named after her. It's called Cicely L. Tyson Community School of Performing and Fine Arts, and it is an elementary school in East Orange, New Jersey. Of course, she has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She received the Kennedy Center honors. She was inducted into the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Hall of Fame. And then a couple of days before she passed, her memoir, Just As I Am, was published. And that's something that I got to make sure that I read, and maybe on a future episode of this season, I'll do a review on that book. But that's something that I want to make sure that I read, and maybe you guys can read it too and provide your comments. So that is Cicely Tyson. I know that we know of her as an actress on a lot of Tyler Perry movies, on The Help, on just a lot of television and film, but she was involved in some other stuff too. Like I didn't know she was a dancer, so that was interesting to know. And she definitely made an impact um, on society, especially with Black society, with being in the game for just so long. And I know that we will be watching her work and what she did for years and years to come. So thank you, Cicely Tyson, for everything that you have done. So, right now, we are going to take a quick break and then we will go into our unsung heroes. Okay, y'all, we are back. And as I said before the break, we are going to get into a few of these unsung heroes of Black history. Um, as I said during the first season, we always hear about Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman and Malcolm X for Black history. Those are like the staples. But what about the individuals who did something to impact Black history but didn't get the recognition that they deserve? Well, I just want to shed a spotlight on them, to showcase the contribution that they made as well, because they're important too and they deserve recognition as well. So here we go. The first person is Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy. So basically, before Rosa Parks, there was Irene. So in July of 1944, she was arrested after she refused to give up her bus seat to a white passenger in Virginia. Now, that is the myth that we have in Black history. We always think that Rosa Parks was the first woman to give up her seat. No, there was actually women before her that gave up her seat. Just Rosa Parks just got the spotlight. But there were individuals like Irene who gave up their seat, or who refused, rather. I'm sorry, who refused. Let me retract. So we think that there were we thought that Rosa Parks was the first woman to refuse to give up her seat. No, there was actually women before her who refused to give up their seat to a white person on the bus, and Irene was one of them. Okay, does that make sense? I just jacked that all the way up. I'm sorry, guys. But basically, there were people before Rosa Parks who refused to give up their seat on the bus to a white person. Just Rosa Parks, she got more recognition than the others. But Irene was one of those people who refused to give up her seat. So she refused to give up her bus seat to a white passenger in Virginia. She was convicted in a county circuit court, but appealed the decision to the Virginia Supreme Court and later to the U.S. Supreme Court. With the help of lawyers from the NAACP, which for those of you who don't know, the NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Okay. So with the help of NAACP lawyers, including Thurgood Marshall, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Irene on June 3rd, 1946. While Southern states largely ignored the ruling, Irene's case was a pioneer in civil rights law, and she also received the Presidential Citizens Medal from President Bill Clinton in 2001. So now you can tell people like, Rosa Parks wasn't the first one to refuse her seat. You know, there were people before her, and one of those people was Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy. Now, I don't know if she was the first one to do it. That's going to be something that I can research more. But all I know, she was before Rosa Parks, and she just didn't get the spotlight that Rosa Parks did. And that could be a whole story why she didn't receive recognition, but I'm not going to get into that. Um, but there were people before Rosa Parks who did it, and they just didn't get the recognition. So thank God for Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy. Okay, there was also Anna Arnold Hedgeman. She was an advocate who worked with religious organizations and within the government to mobilize the civil rights movement. She became the first African American graduate of Hamline University in 1922. She later worked for a number of religious organizations, most notably the Young Women's Christian Association. Hedgeman also held various roles in the government, including working on Harry S. Truman's reelection campaign in 1948 and serving in the cabinet of New York Mayor Robert F. Wagner from 1954 to 1958, the first African American woman to do so. Hedgeman was also instrumental in the planning of the historic March on Washington in 1963. Now that's interesting because when we think March on Washington, we automatically think Martin Luther King, but there were people in the background that were working to make sure that that was a success. And Miss Hedgeman made sure that that happened. So kudos to Miss Hedgeman. So I'm going to do probably just one more, and then we'll resume next week with some more unsung heroes. So the next one is Amelia Boynton Robinson. She was recognized for her tireless, or she has been recognized rather, for her tireless civil rights advocacy in recent years, including a portrayal in 2014 Selma. But many may not know just how pivotal a figure she was. She began her civil rights activism in the 1930s when she started advocating for voting rights after becoming one of the few African American women registered to vote in Selma, Alabama. She became the first African American woman in Alabama to run for Congress in 1964, and the following year, she helped Martin Luther King Jr. plan the march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama for March 7th, 1965, now known as Bloody Sunday. Ms. Robinson and the roughly 600 demonstrators were forcefully attacked by state troopers with tear gas, billy clubs, and whips. She was hospitalized after the march, and a horrific photo of her injuries was widely circulated. Later in 1965, Ms. Robinson was invited to the White House when President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. And in 1990, she received the Martin Luther King Jr. Freedom Medal. So that's interesting. When you see the picture of Lyndon B. Johnson signing the Voting Rights Act, of course, your main focus is on Martin Luther King. But I had no idea or didn't really pay attention to the fact that Amelia Robinson was in the room when that was being done. And it's sad that she didn't get the recognition that she deserved. But yes, that's all that I have for you all today. There are some pivotal Black pioneers who contributed to Black history that may not have gotten the recognition that they deserved. And I just want to shed light on them and show how important they are and how grateful I am for their contributions, because I definitely would not be where I am today if it wasn't for them. And I know a lot of other Black people out there wouldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for these people making a pivotal step in history. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments how you enjoyed this episode and what you thought about the people that I discussed today. Make sure you leave a comment. You can also leave a voice note on Anchor. If you want to support this episode in any way, you can go to Anchor. in order to support in any way that you can. I'll make sure to put the link in the show notes. And also make sure to follow our Facebook page, The Millennial Mind, and our Instagram page, _Millennial Mind. And make sure you leave a comment. Leave a comment. Um, Show what you thought about this episode. Also, make sure that you like and subscribe to this episode. We're on pretty much every major platform. So make sure you like and subscribe so that so that this podcast can be visible to new listeners. And of course, I always have a quote for you guys. And this one comes from Barack Obama. I wanted to do some quotes from Black leaders since it's Black History Month, and I thought it would be befitting to start with Barack Obama. But he said, change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Yes. So thank you guys for listening. And until next week, I will see you guys soon.